Assalamu alaikum. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Let us begin. I have already shared with you the summary of this lesson, Lost Spring, from Flamingo textbook. Let us read this lesson together. This lesson written by Anish Jung, born in 1964 in Rourkela and spent her childhood and adolescence in Hyderabad. She received her education in Hyderabad and in the United States of America. Her parents were both writers. Anish Jung began her career as a writer in India. She has been an editor and columnist for major newspapers in India and abroad and has authored several books. The following is an excerpt from her book titled Lost Spring. Let's see. Stories of Stolen Childhood. Here she analyzes the grinding poverty and tradition which condemn these children to life of exploitation. So I'm reading from the textbook. I would request all the students to have the textbook so you can understand well. Very easy lesson. Right? Let's begin to read. Sometime I find rupee in the garbage. This is the title of the lesson. Lost Spring is the main title. Subtitle, sometime I find rupee in the garbage. Why do you do this? I asked Sahib, whom I encounter every morning, scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. So the author encounter Shahib Alam, one boy, and she asked him question, why do you do this? Why are you searching garbage and all this? Sahib left his home long ago. This is an introduction. There can be a question. There can be a question based on the character of Shahib Alam. His full name is Shahib Alam. Sahib left his home long ago. Yeah, set amidst in the middle of the green fields of Dhaka. Dhaka is there in Bajrasthan. He belongs to Bangladesh, and he left his country, left his green fields, and came for survival purpose here in India. Green fields of Dhaka. His home is not even a distance memory. There were many storms that swept away their fields and homes. So he left his house because of the storms. The storms made him homeless, right? The storms made these people homeless. There were many storms that swept away their fields and homes. His mother tells him, yes. That's why they left looking for gold in the big city where he now lives. Looking for gold means the garbage is gold. The garbage or heaps of garbage is like a gold for them. Because they survive on these heaps of garbage. They search for food, they search for scraps, and by this way they sell it to the scrap holders and they survive. So let me explain in a nutshell. Every morning the writer sees a young rag picker's boy who visits the garbage dump near the house and searches for gold in it. The writer says that he searches for gold ironically because all the garbage dump is full of useless, thrown away things. Still he shuffles it so minutely as if he will get something as precious as gold from it. They are not searching for gold, right? The boy's name is Sahib. His home is Dhaka, was in the middle of lush green fields. They had left it in many years ago, and he doesn't remember it anymore. His mother had told him that there were many storms which destroyed their homes and fields. So they left homes and shifted to the city in search of gold. The writer again says looking for gold in the big city. Gold here refers to something precious which was not available in their hometown. Things like shoes, money, bags, or for children, and food, clothing, shelter, and means of survival for their parents. The boy searched for such precious thing in the garbage dumps. One day the writer questioned Sahib and asked him the reason for shuffling through the garbage. This is an explanation of the first paragraph. Let's see the second paragraph. I have nothing else to do, he mutters. कुछ काम ही नहीं है, यही काम है मेरा. Looking away. Go to school. This Anish Jung says that go to school. I say glibly, fluently. Glibly means fluently. Immediately, how hollow the advice must sound, right? So this was glibly means speaking or spoken in a confident way, fluently. Hollow, meaningless advice. He is there talking himself. There is no school in my neighborhood. When they will build, I will go. Sahib Alam is there answering. There is no school available in our slum area. When they will build, I will go. If I start a school, will you come? I ask, half joking. The author is there telling him that if he would start, will he show his willingness to come to school? Yes, he says, smiling broadly, yes, ma'am, I would sure come to your school. Let's see, Sahib replied to the writer that he has nothing else to do other than rag picking. The writer suggests that he should go to school. She realized that her advice is meaningless for the poor boy. He replies that there are no schools in the area where he lives. He also assures her that he will go to school when one is built near his house. The writer asked him jokingly that if she opened a school, would he attend it? And he answered it, yes, very positively. I am here to adjust the camera, so let's begin to read. Yes, he says, smiling broadly. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? Boy, kids never forget what elders are saying. The advice given by, or the concept of school told by Anish Jung, remember by that boy, and he just rushed towards that ma'am and rushed towards the writer and says, yes. Few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? It takes longer to build a school. I say, embrace at having made a promise that was not meant. I just, for the sake of saying, I just said, and I felt really embraced. I felt really shy inside my heart. But promises like mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. But promises like mine abound means plentiful in every corner of his bleak world. Bleak means cheerful. Bleak world means dull cheer. Dull cheer means lifeless. Sahib says that he would join the writer's school, and after a few days he runs up to her and asks whether her school is ready. The writer replied that it takes a lot of time to build a school. She felt ashamed at making a false promise. She had said that this as a joke and had never intended to open a school. So she felt ashamed of herself. Sahib was not hurt because he was used to such a false promises as they exist in large number in his empty world. He was surrounded by such false promises made by everyone around him. His world was empty as no promises made to Sahib was ever fulfilled. Let's begin to read the 8th paragraph. After months of knowing him, I asked him his name, and he answers, Sahib Alam. He announces he doesn't know what it means. If he knew its meaning, Lord of the universe, he would have hard time believing it. Sahib Alam means the king of this world. And look at the life of this boy. He is a rag picking. If he would be knowing the meaning of his name, he would not believe it. Unaware of what his name represents, he roams the street with his friends, an army of barefoot boys who appear like the morning birds and disappear at noon. So he is there roaming with his friends, army of his friends. They are all barefooted people. They are all barefoot boys. They don't have chappals to wear. They don't have shoes to wear. They don't have anything to cover their feet, right? Over the months, I have come to recognize each of them. And the writer, because she is a social worker and she would visit such a slum area, right? Let me explain in nutshell. The writer had known Saif for a few months when she asked him his name. He replies if he was making an announcement that his name was Shahib-e-Alam. The writer thought that the boy didn't know the meaning of his name, and if he come to know his name means Lord of the Universe, he would not be able to believe. His name was opposite to his life. He went around the street with a group of friends. It was like an army of boys who did not wear any footwear. They appear in the morning like the morning birds and disappear at noon. The writer could recognize all of them as he had been seeing them for the past few months. We'll continue inshallah with the second video of this lesson later on. Meanwhile, up to this only. Allah Hafiz.